Your Next 5 Moves by Patrick Bet-David. Picture this. You're 8 years old, squeezed into the back seat of your family's cramped white Renault. The wail of sirens cuts through the air like knives. Your family is fleeing Iran, desperate to escape a place where the whistle of falling bombs has become as ordinary as birdsong. Your car rumbles across a bridge, just concrete and steel holding you above the water. Your father's knuckles are white on the steering wheel as he warns you and your sister, don't look back. But you're a kid. Of course you look back. The flash comes first, blinding and brutal. Then the sound. The bridge you just crossed has been blown to pieces. That image sears itself into your brain, a permanent scar you'll carry forever. That little boy was Patrick Bet-David. He could have let that trauma define him. Could have remained a victim of war, of living in refugee camps for 2 years, of arriving in America at 12 without speaking the language. His relatives certainly expected as much when he graduated high school with a 1.8 GPA. You'll never amount to anything, they said. But Patrick discovered something powerful. Something that separates chess grandmasters from casual players. While amateurs see the board as it is, grandmasters see it as it will be 10 or 15 moves ahead. He learned to treat life like a game of strategy. Today we're exploring his remarkable book, Your Next 5 Moves. Patrick built a financial services empire with over 15,000 agents and created Valuetainment, a media company with billions of views. Not because he was the smartest person around. He'll tell you straight up he wasn't, but because he mastered the art of thinking ahead. Here's the thing. This book isn't really about business, it's about mindset. It's a playbook for underdogs, for anyone who's been counted out, for anyone tired of life happening to them instead of for them. My promise? By the end, you'll understand what separates amateurs from grandmasters in the game of life. You'll have a framework for making decisions, building teams, and scaling your dreams. All by learning to master your next 5 moves. So what separates the Elon Musks and Kobe Bryants from everyone else? Patrick's answer is almost embarrassingly simple. Most people only think one move ahead. We react to feelings, fear, ego, whatever emotion hits us hardest in the moment. Your top employee threatens to quit unless he gets a raise. The amateur reacts. Nobody threatens me. We don't need him anyway. The grandmaster? She pauses. She's not thinking about the threat. She's already plotting her next 5 moves. That's the heart of this book. To win the long game, stop reacting and start strategizing. And this transformation from amateur to master, it begins with the first, most crucial move of all. Move 1. Master knowing yourself. Before you can plan anything on life's chessboard, you need to answer one fundamental question. Who do you want to be? Sounds simple, maybe even fluffy. But Patrick insists that without a crystal clear answer, every strategy crumbles. Your answer determines how you handle setbacks, who you let into your life, and what sacrifices you'll make. Patrick learned this the hard way. Early on, he was crushing it as a salesman at Bally Total Fitness. His plan? Become the next Arnold Schwarzenegger. Management promised him a big promotion to Hollywood if he could turn around a failing gym in the middle of nowhere. He didn't just meet the goal, he demolished it, taking the club from 40% to 115% of its revenue target in 90 days. He'd objectively earned that promotion. But when he walked into his boss's office, ready for his victory lap, they gave the position to someone else. Someone with more seniority but far worse results. Corporate politics had trumped merit. Anger and betrayal washed over him. He quit on the spot. Driving home, He felt like he'd just made the worst decision of his life. But that night, as the emotion drained away, something crystallized. He could never again let someone else control his destiny. That painful moment forced him to define, for the first time, who he wanted to be. He made a list. Work with people who keep their word. Have a clear path to success based purely on results. Build a team that shares his vision. That clarity, born from pain, became his compass. Here's a recurring theme. Your greatest fuel often comes from your deepest pain. Take Barbara Corcoran from Shark Tank. Her boyfriend and business partner left her for her assistant, telling her on his way out, "You'll never succeed without me." That insult became rocket fuel. She built a real estate empire and sold it for $66 million, not just to get rich, but to prove him wrong. Patrick wants you to do the same. Think of a teacher, boss, or relative who doubted you. Don't bury that memory. Use it. That "never again" feeling is one of the most powerful forces on the planet. For Patrick, the ultimate never again moment came at 23. His father was in the hospital after his 13th heart attack, receiving terrible care at a public facility. Patrick lost it, screaming and throwing things, until security dragged him out. Sitting in his car, crying, a stranger's words echoed in his head. "If you had money, you could get better insurance, but you didn't pay for this. Taxpayers are." The anger melted into shame. His father was suffering because he, Patrick, had failed. That night, the old Patrick died. The party guy who racked up credit card debt was gone. In his place stood a man with a mission: make the name Bet David mean something. His father would never receive lousy health care again. That pain gave him absolute clarity. And with clarity comes the ability to make your next move. Move 2. Master the ability to reason. Once you know who you want to be, the second move is mastering how you think. Life will throw problems at you constantly. Markets crash. Partners betray you. Pandemics shut down the world. Amateurs panic. Grandmasters process. Processing is staying calm in the storm, analyzing problems logically, and seeing hidden consequences. The most important trait for effective processing? Taking 100% responsibility. Poor processors blame. The economy's bad. My employees are lazy. They see themselves as victims. Great processors always start with I. They ask, how did I contribute to this? What could I have done differently? How can I solve this? Patrick shares a great example of watching Joe Rogan handle a business dispute. Someone he partnered with wasn't representing their brand correctly. Instead of blaming the guy, Rogan caught himself, "Here we have a problem that we've allowed to be created." He owned his role. That shift from victim to owner gives you the power to find solutions instead of just complaining. To systematize this mindset, Patrick developed Solve for X, just like in algebra, where you find the unknown variable to solve an equation. In business and life, you isolate the real problem. A colleague once told him, "I just don't love this anymore," referring to his job. Patrick pressed, "What is this?" After digging, the real problem wasn't the job. It was that the colleague had gained weight, felt tired, was in a sales slump, and had lost his self-esteem. The problem was personal habits, not career choice. Once he solved for the real X, he started exercising, regained confidence, and his passion returned. This process means asking why over and over until you reach the root cause. Your top customer left. Why? A competitor has lower prices. Why? Their product has fewer features. Why? Because most customers don't actually need all the features. Aha! You're not selling the right product for the market. Patrick used this exact system when his company nearly collapsed, just 5 weeks after launching his agency. Akin, a $400 billion industry giant, sued to put him out of business. He'd poured his life savings in and convinced 66 people to leave stable jobs to join him. An amateur would have raged, let ego take over, and fought the lawsuit to bankruptcy. Patrick, thinking like a strategist, made 2 lists: what I can control and what I can't control. He couldn't control why Akin sued, but he could control his response. He realized winning in court wasn't the most important outcome. Keeping his team's momentum and focus was. Winning the war mattered more than winning this battle. So he made a calculated decision. He settled, wrote a massive check that crippled them financially, and moved on. Painful? Absolutely. But it was the right move. It allowed them to survive, and eventually thrive, because emotion didn't cloud his reasoning. Move 3. Master building the right team. No matter how brilliant you are, you'll always lose to a team. The myth of the lone genius, the solopreneur who builds an empire alone, is exactly that, a myth. The third move is learning to build your army. But before recruiting anyone, answer this critical question: why should someone work with you? Early on, people don't join your company. They join you. You are the benefits program. Do people win by being around you? Do you make them better? Do you have a track record of improving lives? If not, you have no business trying to lead anyone. Once you become someone worth following, surround yourself with the right people. This doesn't just mean employees. It means finding your consigliere. In the mob, the consigliere is the Don's most trusted advisor, the person unafraid to speak truth, even when it's ugly. Every great leader has one. Warren Buffett has Charlie Munger. Steve Jobs had Steve Wozniak. These people challenge you, spot your blind spots, and have the courage to tell you you're wrong. Patty McCord, former chief talent officer at Netflix, once caught CEO Reed Hastings secretly fixing software bugs right before a major speech. She got in his face. Stop being a geek engineer and be a leader. He didn't fire her. He kept her for 14 years because her challenges made him better. Insecure leaders want yes men. Great leaders want challengers. But with trust comes risk. Patrick tells the story of Donnie Brasco, the FBI agent who went undercover and infiltrated the mafia for 6 years. He earned complete trust from some of the most suspicious people on earth. How? Greed. They saw him as a big earner and dropped their guard. The lesson is brutal but clear. No matter how much you like someone, do your due diligence. Check references, do background checks, and never let charisma blind you to red flags. Once you have the right people, how do you keep them? Give them a piece of the action. Patrick argues that one of America's most powerful forces is the concept of equity, the chance to own something. It transforms an employee's mindset into an owner's mindset. They stop working for a paycheck and start building the company's value, because its success is now their success. He tells entrepreneurs to ask their boss what it would take to earn a piece of the company. If the boss says nothing, leave. A leader unwilling to share the upside will never attract or keep true A players. Move 4. Master the strategy to scale. You've figured out who you are, how to think, and you're building your team. Now it's time to grow. This is Move 4, Scaling Your Vision. Patrick divides growth into 2 categories, linear and exponential. Linear growth comes from improving systems and making more sales. It's important, but incremental. Exponential growth, the empire-building kind, comes from only 2 places: launching innovative campaigns and developing leaders. An innovative campaign is a game-changing move that disrupts the market. Think of Mitsubishi offering to pay customers gas for a year when prices soared. Brilliant marketing that caught everyone off guard. But even the best campaigns are temporary. True, sustainable, exponential growth comes from leadership development. Your ability as a leader will be judged not by your own talent, but by the quality of leaders you create. This means identifying potential leaders, challenging them, and pouring energy into them until they can build parts of the business on their own. How do you forge these leaders? Through pressure. Patrick shares a story about NFL coach Bill Belichick, known for his relentless, almost insane expectations. One former player said playing for Belichick was incredibly annoying because practices were so much harder than actual games. Belichick applied so much pressure during the week that Sunday's game felt easy. His players were desensitized to stress. This is how you build an elite team. Set standards so high they're uncomfortable. Hold people accountable not to your expectations, but to the high expectations they set for themselves. At first, they may resent it, but eventually, the lions on your team, the true performers, will realize the pressure is making them great. They thrive on it. This is what Steve Jobs did with his famous reality distortion field. He refused to accept other people's limitations. He'd impose seemingly impossible deadlines, and because he believed it could be done, his team would find a way, surprising even themselves. But as you scale, chaos is inevitable. Growth feels like everything's about to fall apart. This is where systems save you. Patrick is obsessed with data. He calls it Moneyball for business. You must have numbers you can track every single day. Numbers keep people honest. If a salesperson says, "I'm working hard, but the leads are weak," a bad manager argues. A great manager pulls up the data. "Paul, the data shows you made 20 calls this week. Our top performers make 100. Let's talk about that." The conversation shifts from opinion to fact. Data lets you identify real leaks in your business and fix them. To truly scale, you must codify your knowledge. Everything in your head, your sales process, hiring method, unique insights, must become a system, manual, or video library that anyone can learn. If the business can't run without you, you don't own a business. You own a job. Creating transferable systems builds true, sellable value. Move 5. Master power plays. You've built your foundation, mindset, team, and growth systems. The final move is about engaging with the world. It's about mastering power. Every person and business has a Goliath, a competitor who's bigger, richer, and more established. Beating Goliath isn't about matching his strength. It's about exploiting his weakness. Goliaths are often comfortable, slow, and less hungry. Your advantages are speed, hunger, and the ability to attract other crazy, hungry people who'd rather fight a giant than work for one. One of your most powerful weapons against Goliath? Social media. It's the great equalizer. Goliath can spend millions on PR, but you can create a video on your phone that gets more views and makes a bigger impact. This is how you control the narrative. If you don't tell the world who you are and what you stand for, the world will decide for you. Patrick is adamant. You must be shameless. Not arrogant, but shameless in self-promotion. Share your wins, but more importantly, share your losses. People don't connect with perfect robots. They connect with real humans who make mistakes and learn from them. This leads to the art of negotiation. Patrick studied mobsters, not for their criminal methods, but to understand their mastery of strategy, psychology, and leverage. When they sit down for a meeting, it can be life or death. Because the stakes are so high, their preparation is obsessive. He shares 7 essential steps he takes before any high-stakes meeting, including anticipating everything the other side will say, role-playing multiple times, and spending most of the time addressing their needs, not his own. Before a major negotiation with a powerful insurance carrier, he spent 90% of his preparation thinking about what they wanted, their fears, and how he could solve their problems. He walked in and made an offer they couldn't refuse, not because it was a threat, but because it was a win-win so clearly beneficial for them. Ultimately, real power is having options. The person who needs the deal least has the most leverage. This is why you must never become dependent on a single customer, employee, or strategy. Always cultivate new options. But perhaps the most profound power play of all seems the weakest: service. Patrick tells a story about meeting a very influential man named Eli. Instead of asking for anything, Patrick simply asked, "How can I help you?" The man got emotional and told him his son was in a rough prison 4 hours away and no one ever visited. Without hesitation, Patrick agreed to go. He drove 4 hours, went through rigorous security, and spent the day with a complete stranger in a prison yard. He didn't do it for something in return. He did it to serve. But that single act built a bond of trust so deep that Eli became one of his most powerful allies for life. The formula is simple but life-changing. Stop asking what people can do for you, and start asking what you can do for them. That is the ultimate source of power and influence. The entire book, All 5 Moves, is a call to be more intentional, to stop being a pawn in someone else's game and start being the grandmaster of your own. It requires knowing yourself, reasoning clearly, building a loyal team, scaling with strategy, and wielding power with wisdom. It's a lifelong commitment to playing the game not just to win, but to become the greatest version of yourself. As we step back and look at the chessboard Patrick Bet-David has laid out, what's the one lesson that truly stands out? For me, it isn't a specific business tactic or clever negotiation trick. It's the profound idea that your life, right now, is a strategy game. Whether you realize it or not, you're making moves every single day. The only question is whether you're playing like an amateur or training to be a grandmaster. This book is a powerful antidote to the reactive, distracted, short-term living that modern life encourages. We're constantly bombarded with notifications, headlines, and other people's opinions, all pushing us to react emotionally and immediately. Your next 5 moves is a call to pause, breathe, and think. It's a reminder that the most powerful position on any board isn't strength, it's clarity. What makes Patrick's message so compelling is that he's the living embodiment of his own philosophy. This isn't academic theory. This is wisdom forged in fires of war, immigration, failure, and relentless ambition. When he talks about using pain as fuel, you feel the heat of that bombed-out bridge in Iran. When he talks about betting on yourself, you feel the terror and conviction of quitting a stable job with no safety net. He proves that your starting point doesn't determine your destination. Your strategy does. The most practical and transformative idea in the book is the very first move: master knowing yourself. In a world obsessed with hustle and external metrics of success, he forces us to begin with the internal. Asking, "Who do you want to be?" isn't passive. It's active. The answer becomes your North Star for every decision that follows. It's the filter for evaluating opportunities, relationships, and even daily habits. Without that filter, you're simply a ship without a rudder, pushed around by life's currents. So how can you start applying this grandmaster mindset today, even before you've built an empire? Let's make it simple. First, take the who question seriously. Find 30 minutes this week. Just 30. Go somewhere quiet with a notebook and write your honest, unfiltered answer to, "Who do I want to be?" Don't think about what's realistic or what others expect. Think about the person you'd be with no limits. What do they value? How do they spend their time? How do they make others feel? This is the first step to creating your own compass. Second, identify your fuel. Think of one specific time you felt underestimated, doubted, or told no. Feel that sting again for just a moment. Now, instead of pushing it away, write down one small, concrete action you can take this week to use that feeling as motivation. Maybe it's studying an extra hour, making one more sales call, or finally starting that project you've been putting off. Turn that negative energy into forward momentum. Third, practice your next move. Look at a small problem you're currently facing, a tough assignment, a disagreement with a friend, a challenge at your part-time job. Instead of reacting, take out paper and map 3 potential moves. For each move, write the likely consequence, your next 1 or 2 moves. The goal isn't finding the perfect solution. The goal is training your brain to stop reacting and start strategizing. This book is about so much more than business. It's a manual for living an intentional life. It teaches you that while you can't always control the pieces on the board, you can always control your next move. And in the long game of life, that's the only thing that truly matters. That was a deep dive into Your Next 5 Moves by Patrick Bet-David. We've explored the core strategies today, but I'll be honest, a summary is like looking at a picture of a magnificent feast. You can see what's on the table, but you can't taste the flavors or feel the warmth. The real magic happens when you read it yourself. When one of Patrick's stories connects with your own memory, or a single sentence makes you see a problem in a whole new light. This summary is your invitation to the table. If anything we've discussed has sparked something in you, grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning. It's an experience that can fundamentally change how you play the game. You can find a link to the book in the description below. If you've found this journey valuable, hit that subscribe button. It tells me this work matters and ensures you won't miss our next exploration into another life-changing book. Let's keep learning and growing, one move at a time.